Hey everyone, this is my second long-form video on YouTube so far, and today I'm going to be talking about common character tropes I hate and why. Quick disclaimer, this is my opinion. You do not have to agree with me. This is for the sake of being a silly video. That being said, let's get started. The bad boy who's secretly depressed. This one is a little less common, but it's basically a tough bad boy or I don't give a shit-esque character, often male, who is secretly depressed, and usually people use that as an excuse for their behavior. A very good example of this trope in action is Jax from The Amazing General Circus. Now, I love The Amazing General Circus, despite its many flaws, one being character development, but Jax, he has this I don't give a fuck, everybody else sucks, I'm awesome kind of mentality, and it's really, really annoying sometimes. One reason that I just cannot stand characters like this is because there's no soul behind those eyes. Bad boy characters in general aren't all that bad, but specifically ones that people use as like an example of, oh, he's depressed, he does no wrong, he's so tired of life, that means he can do whatever he wants. Like, I hate characters like that. And before all you Jax lovers come after me in the comments, I don't hate Jax. He's not an awful character, and despite his many flaws, I think he could be a better character, but in my opinion, Gooseworks just doesn't have the best character work. I think it definitely could be improved, but I mean, who am I to judge somebody's characters? Another reason that this character trope kind of sucks is just because a lot of the time people use the fact that they are depressed as an excuse for anything they do. Like, even if they're the most awful character. Oh, they're just misunderstood. Oh, it's okay. They're just misunderstood. But like, it's not okay. You know, it's not an excuse for their actions. You know? Anyway, my final reason that I just hate this trope, it's just annoying. Bad boy characters are kind of annoying. They tend to be one-sided. They don't have that much dynamic to them. They're very flat characters. And usually they act like every other character that is part of this trope. They don't have any personality, they don't have any soul, and they just all have a depressing backstory for no reason. And it just kinda annoys me. The second common character trope that I see like a lot is the stereotypical nerd. One example of this is Sheldon from Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory. I know that the whole point is that he's smart, he's a nerd, but the representation of a smart character in Young Sheldon is just, it's not for me. It's hard to watch. A lot of the times, shows like these, they tend to just make the character smart. Like, that's all there is to them. And yeah, Sheldon does have layers, you know, that's like a really big spoiler. If you haven't seen Young Sheldon, then skip this part. But yeah, his dad dies in the last season, and that like makes him realize his like emotions and all that, and I guess that makes him a little bit more dynamic, but overall his character is just supposed to be nerdy, and that's just not how smart characters work. They're not always nerdy, they don't always have glasses, they're not short, they don't have bowl cuts. Like, it's just not real representation. And I feel like a lot of these characters are supposed to be like cringe or played off for laughs, and I don't think there should be characters just solely for laughs, because I mean, what's the point of the character? Anyway, another thing that I really hate about the stereotypical nerd is just how cringe these characters can be, like on purpose. It's just like really good storytelling, it's not good character building, and it makes the character really flat. And a lot of people who know my OCs and know my show that I'm currently making called Melting Stained Glass, you know, a little promo there, but one of these characters in my show, his name is Caleb, and he's supposed to be a nerdy, kind of geeky character. Except I don't make him flat. That's not his whole thing. It just happens to be one of his character traits. You know, he got bullied as a child, and he became a femboy for it. If you don't know my characters in my world, this might sound really weird, but just hang in there. But yeah, I purposefully added that to his existing emotions and his existing character, and it's just an add-on. It's not the base for his character. Anyway, I'm probably gonna stop talking about this because I could ramble on for hours about how much I hate it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's move on to the next one. The third character trope that I really hate is popular girl with no soul. These characters are really often like a sort of one-off villain. One example is Regina from Mean Girls. She's supposed to be this mean, entitled, rich, popular girl who everybody loves. And while she has a few layers to her, there's no character building. Like, that's her whole point, is that she's a mean girl who's popular. And I feel like this shines through with all three of the plastics. You know, Karen's supposed to be this dumb blonde, which is another trope that I really hate, because if you're blonde, you know that not all blonde people are bad. It's a stupid trope. Anyway, it's not an amazing thing to see when all these popular girls are just, you know, have no soul. And there's a lot of people, actually, who base their character off of being popular, but then give them layers. They have feelings and wants and hopes and dreams that, like, matter to a lot of people, and that a lot of people could resonate with. However, the way that some people and some shows write popular girls is just for the plot. It's not for the character. It's just for the show. A lot of old Disney shows, rom-coms, have that one popular girl whose whole job is to be mean for no reason. And a lot of the times, the reason she's mean is just because she has, like, daddy issues or something, which kind of loops back around to the bad boy character who's secretly depressed, and it sort of shields all their bad actions, and it's not an excuse. And I think, not to do another reference to my pilot, but one of the characters in my pilot, her name is Izzy, and Allie, too. There's two of them. They are the stereotypical mean girls, except Allie is the whole reason she's mean is so that she can fit in with Izzy, and she has all these hopes, and then she has an arc halfway through the show where she becomes this nicer person. Izzy's kind of just a bitch. So yeah, I did lean into that a little bit, but it's common for a reason. It's a common trope for a reason. And I feel like it can be used occasionally for characters that don't really matter, but if you want to create a real character that people will like and that people will make art for and Wattpad stories for, then you have to make them dynamic. You have to give them actual feelings. And a lot of these popular girls just don't have a soul behind those eyes. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to the next one because I also could talk about this trope for hours. Alright, the fifth trope we're gonna be talking about is the Princess Magical Girl OC insert. I think this trope originated from early 2000s, Tumblr and Reddit, and they would make OCs and stuff like that. But a lot of these OCs and people sometimes translate into actual shows. I feel like one example of this is Twilight Sparkle from My Little Pony. Now, I love My Little Pony. I know I'm 16. I should not be liking My Little Pony. But, you know, whatever. I don't like how she's portrayed as this super overpowerful magical girl with, like, no flaws. She's perfect. She has all this magic that she can use. She's just the perfect perfect main character. And that most of these tropes that I've been talking about make a character flat. They make them non-interesting, boring, whatever you want to call it. But I think especially with Magical Girl, like, overpowered OCs and characters just take the fun out of the show. Like, it gives the show, like, not that much whimsy, not that much room to breathe, room to have flaws. I think My Little Pony does this better than I think a lot of people could do this, just because they occasionally have a few episodes where the characters have flaws, and I think the main characters are good, but they all fall into common tropes, which I'm not saying all tropes are bad. Like with Rainbow Dash, with the stereotypical tomboy trope, and Rarity with the stereotypical fashion girl trope, which is one of my favorite tropes, by the way. Just because I think there's a lot of things that you can mess around with. But, like Applejack with the southern kind of tomboy trope. I don't know if that's a trope. I'm kind of bugging right now. Anyway, back on to the Magical Girl OC insert. I think a lot of shows, like, especially indie shows, do this right. Like, a lot of times, this is the main character we're talking about, and I think especially with Pretty Please, I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl, which is an indie pilot that you should definitely watch if you haven't already. It's so underrated. I think they do this really well, because the whole point is Pretty Please, I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl is about this girl who's a magical girl who doesn't want to be. She has layers, she has, like, hopes and wants, and she is her own character outside of the magical girl. You know, she's outgoing, energetic, all of these things that a lot of self-inserts and Magical Girl OC characters don't have. And that's one thing that I really appreciate with indie shows especially, is that their characters aren't leaning on character tropes. They're adding on to them, which is one of the reasons that I really don't like big industries, because they want these characters that are perfect and flawless, but in real life, people have flaws, and not everybody's perfect. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. This was kind of a character trope that I thought of last minute, just because, like, I don't know, I wanted to fill in a gap, I guess. But yeah, these characters just kind of annoy me for obvious reasons. Alrighty, the sixth and almost last character trope that we're going to be talking about is the weird love interest. These characters are very, very commonly found in a lot of rom-coms, old Disney shows, Cartoon Network, you know, every mainstream piece of media definitely has this trope, which is usually a popular guy or a girl, which is much less common for it to be a girl, much more common for it to be a guy, but this popular guy who's probably a jock, he's probably super tall, super handsome, everybody loves him. And often, the main character is in love with them. And usually the love interest is super flat. The only reason they're there is to be a love interest. And I don't think I have to pull up an example. I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about, is those people who are only used as a love interest. They're not their own character, they're not their own person, they're just for the main character's love or attention. And they're like this character that the main character is just like, oh my god, I love him so much, he's so cool, he's so hot, I want to date him so badly, but doesn't give any reason as to why, you know? I mean, there's the occasional, oh, he's a nice guy, oh, he's popular, he plays football, you know, all this stuff. It doesn't really make sense. What's the point of having a love interest if the love interest is flat and boring and It's just a very common character trope that I see everywhere in all kinds of media. That's also one thing that indie animation and indie studios do really well, is not having flat characters. And I know I already went on a whole ramble about this, but flat characters just don't work for a narrative. They have no purpose. They're just there to fill space at this point. This trope doesn't have a lot to it. It's just a bland person who is only there for the main character's love. And oftentimes, after she or he gets with this person, that's kind of it. They kind of just disappear from the narrative and are never seen again because they served their purpose. That's all they were used for. Anyway, let's move on to our final trope. Alright, our 7th and final character trope of the day is the sidekick. One example of this is Robin from Batman. Now, I know there's a lot of different depictions of Robin, but I'm just gonna go with a basic Robin. All he's there for is to be a sidekick. He's often downplayed as this little boy character who can't really help, but the main superhero just kind of has him for pity or things like that. Usually, these sidekick characters were bullied, they're played off for laughs, they're the comedic relief, when in reality, I think they could be like a good character. They can help the narrative, and even though they're supposed to be a sidekick, they're not the big hotshot, I think they can definitely bring something to the narrative if done correctly. And often they are not done correctly. As I said, Robin from Batman is just this little boy character who's not really supposed to bring anything to the table, but is just there for the narrative's sake. I really dislike tropes like these, and I think that they have a lot of potential to be good, and shows and movies just downplay them. They're kind of the helpless damsel in distress of superhero comics. I know I'm saying superhero comics. My language is not the best, okay? My vocabulary is very, very low. Anybody who likes comic books, you guys are awesome. Shout out to you. But yeah, I mean, these characters are just flat and bland, not dynamic. Their whole thing is just to be these stupid little characters who don't bring anything to the narrative. And I think that really pisses me off because a lot of people believe that they don't matter and that nobody likes them and that they're pitied on. And I think these characters feed into that real human fear that nobody really likes you and that you're just there to be helpful or useful. And not to get too deep here, but I think these shows and movies and comics can often influence people to fear that even more. And it's not a reasonable thing to fear about because everybody has their highs and their lows and their character tropes of themselves. I think people are a lot more dynamic, and one thing that I have been thinking about this entire video is how it can affect how people see themselves. And that's why I think that character tropes need to evolve. I think character tropes are important to a story, but that they need to be added onto. A character can't be solely based on a character trope. Anyway, that's just my take. Thank you for watching. If you got this far, comment a pineapple emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I know I was talking about my pilot a lot, and if you want to learn more about that, I'm going to leave the Discord server in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to support me as a new commentary YouTuber. And thank you so much. Goodbye.